This is Woody.
You are a toy!
And this is Buzz.
To infinity and beyond!
Here they are again.
Say, you weren't thinking of flying, were you?
But something's wrong here. Woody's head is huge. He's also got 2 holsters instead of 1. Buzz Lightyear is red and doesn't call himself Buzz.
I'm Tempest from Mars!
But most glaringly, the voices are just wrong.
To infinity and beyond!
That's because this is 1991, the film came out in 1995, and Pixar was still, well...
We were trying to convince Tom to throw his hat in the ring with us.
Any other toy would give up his moving parts just to be you. You got wings. You glow in the dark.
And that's what I want to talk about today, the enduring impact of casting the right voice...
A king's time as ruler.
...for the right project... And what makes a voice actor great? Like, how do they record their lines?
And then they give you the script.
And how does this process work?
Then they come up with the film.
Why quiver with fear?
Oh, I'm Jack, by the way. Welcome to Seen It. And now back to the real Woody.
Sorry, howdy. My name is Woody, and this is Andy's room.
In 1991, Tom Hanks wasn't who he is now. He was pretty well known. He'd been in some big movies, pardon the pun. But he hadn't gone on his generational 2 Oscars must-see run of the 90s.
Houston, we have a problem. Why don't you love me, Jenny?
This made him slightly attainable, for sure, but first Pixar still had to sell him on the idea of Toy Story. Partly because...
A lot of people thought that an audience would not sit through 70 minutes of computer animation.
But also to check if the character was right for him.
It was like, I'm not sure what this is.
So, what was the pitch? Well,
they took a line from Turner and Hooch,
one of his previous movies,
and they actually did have a small piece of computer animation, which was Woody saying the line. It was kind of amazing.
No, you're eating the car! Don't eat the car! Not the car!
And while this was still the primitive Woody model from before, it worked because, as Hanks put it,
the marriage of the outraged voice of mine inside this outraged body of a toy was, it was just undeniably great.
Oh, you stupid dog!
Interestingly, Pixar tried a similar thing for Buzz Lightyear.
What would it be like if Billy Crystal did the voice of Buzz?
This stupid wagon wheel Roy Rogers garage sale coffee table!
But luckily, they settled for another guy. This guy.
Go, just go. I'll catch up.
I was actually acting in there a little bit. There's a whole bunch of... You hated it, though.
Here's director John Lasseter explaining the choice.
Tim Allen as the voice of Buzz Lightyear. He is really appealing. And he could play the macho guy, but with a soft underbelly, you know?
Well, then we've got to do something.
And this brings us to the relationship between voice actors and animators, because it's very symbiotic, very codependent. By which I mean every movie script provides some level of certainty when it comes to character traits and personality. Like Mr. Potato Head was written as a grump, so Don Rickles fit perfectly.
Ages 3 and up. I'm not supposed to be babysitting Princess Drool.
And because Rex was written as an anxious mess,
But look at my little arm.
Wally Shawn's voice was ideal.
What if Andy gets another dinosaur? A mean one. I'll get replaced.
But the animation team at Toy Story decided that beyond these simple characterizations, they were going to mold each character to match the actor's voice.
Shut up! You shut up! You idiot!
Here's Lasseter again.
Focused on each toy and looked at the toy, studied the toy, thought about how it was manufactured with quality of plastic, whether it was a cheap toy, whether it was an expensive toy, all these things, and combined these together to draw the personality out of it.
So how did this work for Buzz Lightyear, for Alan?
My ship!
Well,
In the beginning, Buzz Lightyear was much more superhero-like, much more Dudley Do-Right. And when we started getting Tim in for the recording sessions, he was putting a spin on it that was much more realistic. So we evolved the character, and it's much better to where he is just like a cop.
How dare you open a spaceman's helmet on an uncharted planet?
but it isn't just the voice. This iterative approach affects the look of animated characters too, as Jeremy Irons, a voice you will definitely recognize,
You run along now and have fun.
explains.
And I went along expecting to see the finished film and me having to sort of put lines into mouths that were moving in a certain way. But it's not like that at all.
I hadn't realized that the actor was often the inspiration for the picture.
One of the most famous examples of this is Shrek,
Well, actually,
a character that had to be completely redesigned when the original voice actor, Chris Farley, passed away during production.
No! I'm an ogre!
Like, this is the OG design, which is modeled after Farley.
people see me and they go,
Ah! Help!
And here's the redesign, which was tweaked to look more like Mike Myers.
People take one look at me and go, ah, help, run!
But to explore how animators make a character look like the actor, first I've got to ask a question. Is voiceover work actually just easy?
You have to essentially act full bore 100%.
Like, you just repeat the lines on a page and the animators do the rest.
It's really hard. It's much harder than I ever anticipated it would be.
This is clearly a bit dramatic from Hanks. It's still just acting in an air-conditioned booth.
Don't ever ask to leave this tower again.
But to truly answer this question, let's unpack the important traits, the unique skills voiceover artists use to help their animation team.
I gotta get back home to my owner, Andy.
We have to get back, get there.
We're gonna get out of here, Buzz.
Get right. Oh, my Lord, exhausted.
First and foremost, they have to hit the right inflection, the right emotion on the right lines.
Because of you, the security of the entire universe is in jeopardy.
And the right noises.
A no side.
And to give you an insight into the weirdness of these recording sessions, here's a story from John Lithgow, who played Lord Farquaad in Shrek.
The only person with me was one of their staff who was there only to feed me my lines. I never acted with Eddie Murphy or Mike Myers or Cameron Diaz. I only acted with him. And he did such a great job as the gingerbread man that he became the voice of the gingerbread man.
You're a monster. I'm not the monster here. You are.
So obviously, the most important part of voice acting is the voice. And this is particularly true for Woody, because, as Hanks explains,
he is a clenched person, and everything he's going through is the crisis of his moment.
Buzz Lightyear, thank goodness. We've got trouble.
And because Lasseter wanted to match the voice to the character perfectly,
You do every line probably 17 times, but the end result is you run the gamut from A to Z on whatever the emotion. Like today, I said the word no. I did a riff on just saying no, and I said no every conceivable way.
No.
But, as the wonderful Eartha Kitt shows,
This act of highest treason has but one punishment.
having a great voice isn't enough.
Guards! Take him away!
You've also got to be willing to move around in the booth, gesticulate, and give the animators something to work with.
They always have a video reference camera on you through the entire recording session. There are moments where you have to physically inhabit the word and the line.
Unsurprisingly, this means that a bunch of the most memorable animated characters were played by, well, by people like this.
Enough about you, talk about hair.
Of my what?
Math is math. Math is math.
But the totality of what I just showed you was the easy part. Repeat the lines as many times as the director wants, move around a bit, and then let the animators actually make the movie.
So to try and make that grotesque face look believable was like the first challenge.
But there's one more important step.
Sometimes the last sessions that you have is what they call ADR, looping, to that.
For the record, ADR means automatic dialogue replacement, which is the re-recording of dialogue in a sound booth after filming or animation is complete. And this isn't just an animation thing. ADR is almost universally used on films because you can't get a microphone in every shot, or the camera's too noisy, or the background noise sucks. Like, notice how Leo's voice doesn't quite match his lips here.
What is your opinion of me anyhow?
That's bad ADR. Whereas this
Shall not pass!
is pretty good ADR. Basically, the actors have to dub their own dialogue from a scene they've already filmed. Or, simply put,
You gotta match what they've done.
as proof of how hard this is, Wes Anderson tried to avoid ADR sessions as much as possible while filming Fantastic Mr. Fox. Instead, he recorded his actors' dialogue outside.
We need to make some fake price tags and wrap these chickens in wax paper so it looks like we got them from a butcher shop.
Not only did this save time, money, and enhance the authenticity of the actors' performances,
Wes really wanted it to feel natural.
the stop-motion animators also had on-camera references to animate to.
But he was really recording the real sound, so I felt a little bit like you could just try crazy things and go a little bit nuts.
This was also true for the filming of Rango, where actors were asked to perform a live-action version of the film.
Help! Help! Open the door!
So, coming full circle, I wouldn't say voiceover work is hard, but it's not easy. As James Earl Jones once stated,
I'm simply special effects.
Meaning the dialogue is important.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
But the success of a movie, particularly an animated one, is directly correlated to an actor's willingness to work with the directors and animators, not against them.
I'm totally in the hands of the directors and the writers on this thing. I'm completely given over to their impetus as what they need.
This is falling with style.
But despite all this hard work and the collaboration involved, I'd say the magic of animation starts much earlier, when a casting director has to find the right voice.
I saw Woody
for the right character,
and he talked like I did
at the right time.
So it all made perfect sense.
And of course, it helps if the cast are having fun.
Tim came into my life just like Buzz came into Woody's. You know, it's like, what? First of all,
I looked right at him.
Stop
No
talking.
intelligence.
Stop talking.
And there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Hello?
All right, on that note, I've been Jack. This is Seen It.
Hey, Ham, look, I'm Picasso.
See you in the next one.
Because I've always loved animated films, and I've always wondered how the voices get done, and now that I know how they're done, I will never, ever do one of these again.
Marker.